and I don't want to go back into that cycle again. I don't want to have, when I start borrowing money again, I don't want to have to jump through these hoops that just keep getting higher and higher. Is there a strategy that leaves me out of that system?
Okay. So you don't want to have to buy or borrow through the banks, basically, is that what you're saying? Or you don't have to borrow at all?
I don't want to have the banks or somebody say, if you don't jump through my hoop, your family's up the road.
Mm. Sure, okay, good question. So you basically don't want to be controlled. Wait till I go through this, how we do that, and then the finance section we'll talk about tomorrow, so that'll answer most of that. The ways that you can... I mean, technically, you can some of you don't have to borrow. Okay, you've got enough equity to be able to do it without it. Okay, but some of you, you're going to have to increase your wealth, you're going to have to consider borrowing. But to do this, you don't have to borrow it through the bank. Okay, ideally, if you go through the bank, it's going to be most difficult to do it, in most cases, outside the bank. Okay, but we'll cover that tomorrow. Any other questions before we move on? Yep.
My name is Jill.
Hi, Jill.
And I'm impressed by your enthusiasm about renting shares out, and it makes me feel as though it could all happen tomorrow. But when you look at the wealth bucket, can it really happen that quickly to fill the bucket up?
Okay, you mean the wealth bucket as far as...
The top.
Can it really? Okay. Good question, give her a hand. Can it really happen that quickly? Well, it depends how big your bucket is, okay? And you mean you want to reach the top of your bucket straight away? Or you prefer just the first couple of levels? How much money, do you mind saying, how much money per month would you like coming in from either of these? Money coming out without you needing to work for it. What's the minimum amount you'd like? What's the minimum amount per month? 2,000, 5,000? Would you like coming in? Yeah, just what the return is. How much per month? If I said, okay, you've got to take 3,000 a month, 5,000 a month.
1,200 a month.
1,200 a month?
Yes.
Have you had that coming out needing to work for it?
Yes.
That'd make you very happy?
Yes.
Okay, and how long, so your question is how long will it take to get to that level?
To the top.
Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, from some people it will take about another 48 hours. Okay, some people, if it was today was a Monday, some of you do it right here now. It's not a Monday because you'll be able to physically make a lot of this money while you're still in the seminar. Okay, you have to forgive me, you have to wait until Monday for some of you. It depends on your situation, but as we go through the examples of it, you'll see, and you'll be able to figure that out. Okay. Can it happen that quickly? Can you generate cash flow from this that quickly? The answer is yes. In reality, though, if you don't have your account set up, you may have to allow a few weeks. Okay. Then, depending on what sort of whether you have equity or you can borrow money, etc., that's what we're going to look at. Okay. And just so the most difficult part in setting this up is going to be paperwork. Okay, a bit of admin stuff and things like that, and that can be frustrating at times because it seems to take so long. Okay, because when you leave out of here, you don't want to wait 2 weeks, do you? You want to do it now. Okay, but you have to be patient getting that done. Okay, so let me go through that for you.
Oh yeah, just on. My name's John. Just on the matter of shares, you say you have to set up. Are you talking about a broker? Is that what you're talking about, Jamie?
Through here, yep. You'll have a broker, yep.
So does it matter what broker you've got? I've got a stockbroker. I don't use very much, but I do have some shares, a few.
Does it matter? Yeah, it does matter, yeah.
Right.
We'll go through that tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll bring on some of our academy brokers. I'll speak to you. You get a few choices of who you can use if you want to use our brokers. However, there's other brokers out there that can help you. Some of your existing brokers will probably be able to do it for you. About 92.5% of brokers can't do it for you. So that is a challenge. However, if you don't have a broker that can do it, I'm going to suggest you use our recommended brokers, basically. Why? Make it simple for yourself. But if you've already been investing, you've got a very good broker you're happy with that can do it for you, by all means stay with that broker. But if you don't have a broker right now or your broker can't do it, use the people we're going to recommend. Okay? That will be all taken care of. I'll take one more question because I dare say I'm going to go through and teach all this in detail, so most of the questions are going to be answered anyhow. So I'll take one more question.
Hi, Jamie. I was just wondering, when you were talking about shares, how we could go out immediately and do that. When we have a broker, do we need to know that kind of knowledge, or will our broker say, they ring you up and say, this is what you need to do today, kind of thing, or do you have to follow it so you're in the business of knowing really what you're doing?
Okay, I'll answer that question as we go through it. It's a good question. Yep. Okay, in other words, let's just get started. Okay, let's just do it, okay? That's all we have to do. Is that making sense? So the only other addition we would add to this is the next level, which we're not going to teach in this program, but it's something we're creating for you in the future, is the only other extension of this is a thing down here called offshore. Once you have all these things in place, then you can go to the next level, okay? And then you can have a lot of fun and things like that. But the only thing why we don't teach offshore stuff in this program is because there is a lot of offshore programs out there you can go to, but many people are going from here straight to offshore stuff, which I think is dumb, you know. It's like we need to get some of these things in place onshore and actually have some money to protect. Okay, there's no point going offshore and spending a fortune to protect wealth that you haven't created yet. Okay, it doesn't make sense. So we get all these places, then you can go to the next level of the game. That's about it. Okay, and some of you will be invited to join us in exotic locations around the world to put those sort of things into place. But you've got to do some of this first. Okay, so let's look at 8 ways to come up with getting some money to get started. If you want to use the share renting type business we're going to go through, you're going to need at least, I'd say $15,000. You can start with less, but if you want to make some good money, so if you want to be making like $1,200 a month, you're going to need at least $15,000. However, you could start with as little as $1,000 odd. Okay. So how do you come up with that money? One thing we're going to have to become is savers. Here's the question. Imagine you couldn't borrow any money. If you had to save $15,000 so you could start generating some income here without needing to work from it, if you had to, who would be willing to do what it takes in order to save that money? Okay? Many of you would be. Okay? That means, so that's the commitment you have to have. You're going to do whatever it takes. So anyone can do it. It's going to take a while. So we're going to look at how do we speed it up. But regardless of that, don't say, yeah, I just want to look at all the other strategies I can use it without my own money because I'm a hopeless saver and I don't want to change that habit. I want to get rich without saving. Yeah, that's a cop-out. It's not going to happen. Okay? Become a saver and then you automatically will become rich. Okay? Saving is the hardest part about being an investor. Okay? Investing is rather simple compared to saving. And we look at some ways tomorrow morning of how you can take care of that. Number 2 is, what can we do? Sell something. Okay, so think about it right now. Is there anything that you could sell? Could you have a garage sale, cash in some stuff you no longer need? In other words, cash it in and take that money and put it in an investment. Okay, so it's going to generate you some income. Okay, garage sale, you might have some spare furniture, spare car, spare boat, spare bike, let's say spare spouse, okay, spare kids, their assets, cash them in. Whatever you can cash in. So sell something. So you think about that, jot that down as something for you. Number 3 is a thing called tax. Ian spoke a little bit about that, how you can obviously minimize your tax. We'll look at some other ways you can do that as well. Is some of your tax money could be going towards investing. I've got a friend who works for a large company in Australia, and he earns close to $200,000 a year. And he's a friend of a friend. And he earns close to $200,000 a year, which is a pretty good salary. And he doesn't invest. And I'm thinking, crazy. That means he'd be paying, $60,000, $70,000 a year in tax, maybe more. And he can't get any of it back. If he become an investor, he could get half his tax back. So you see, it's all that money, that's half. What if he's paying, $70,000 in tax, say? 35 of that, or 40 or 50,000 that tax, he could have going into his wealth bucket instead of the government's by doing some simple investing. It's crazy. Many people are wasting tax money. Okay, if you send it to the government, it's going to get wasted. You might as well put it in your own investing. Number 4 is income. So the faster you increase your income, the more you can save. But also the great thing about increasing your income is that what you can do is you'll be able to borrow more money. That's the whole name of the game here. So if you increase your income, the banks will loan you more money to buy more property or more shares. Well, not the banks, whoever you get your finance through. Okay? Which means you can generate more income here. Just speeds up the whole cycle. Number 5 is OPM. Stands for what? Other people's money. And that's what we're talking about, investing and things like that. So let me go through that now for you, because the thing holds many people back is investing is going to be risky. Don't do it. Okay? And it's like your regulators of our country, they make this claim, don't be wary of investments. You know, if you can make, be cautious. If Australian Securities Commission wrote an interesting article recently, and they were saying, be cautious of any investment strategy that offers anything above 2 to 3% above bank interest rates. And their agenda is to protect the consumer's interest. Okay? And my suggestion to ASIC would be, is how well do they protect consumer interest with the HIH debacle and things like that. Okay? Now they say often things regulators say certain agendas is what often in all way they're protecting other people's interests and often their own. Where the best way to protect consumers' interests is educate them so they can protect themselves.